best of 7, though. Let's see who fares off in the longer series.
Yeah, only 8 opportunities to get yourself wins on the board. So I agree with you. This really is a must-win for them, whereas Del Norte Cavaliers, they're able to play a few more games should time allow, or more series, I should say, should time allow. For the Rialto Knights, this is their penultimate opportunity to get that 4th win on the board. Then even if they get a 5th win onto their record, it's still not guaranteed with the 3 losses. It doesn't look too good. In fact, they'd be better off if they were on 5-2 and just didn't play that final series. As we can see, as the highlights get underway, it was an early start, a good start for Del Norte, Mitch, but Rialto Knights with 3:18 on the clock, getting back on par.
Oh, I just love how Del Norte capitalized on mistakes and they got a taste of their own medicine right back. Rialto Knights took advantage of the crease. Sometimes your best friend, sometimes your biggest enemy. Now they'll able to equalize after that unlucky bounce, and now just ball chasing might be enough. Fiat color real close with that line that looks pixel thin, but Fiat will make it through, regain that lead. But again, sometimes we talk about you create your own opportunities, sometimes you're given those opportunities. Schoon will bounce right back into the driver's seat, 2-2, and I think probably it's going to come down to, we talked about this before, who makes the first mistake. We've seen 4 of them on a pitch, 4 goals on the board.
One of my favorite banners, that garbage fire banner. It's really beautiful. And, well, talking of beauty, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Mitch. And we have ourselves a Rule 1 in the blue net. So, for a time being, at least, it becomes a 2v2. And it's a 2v2 that Rialto Knights really do not sell themselves well in. Just giving up the ball is not usually the way to get a goal, but that's exactly what Tectonic does. You lost this, helped out by Fiat. It's a great layoff, essentially, and Scooped unable to save that one. Del Norte, once again, with a go-ahead goal. They go up to 3-2, but the Rialto Knights, as we can see here, looking to try and get back on the attack, trying to fashion something. That said, Del Norte move forward. They commit 2 defenders, but that's a great save, potentially a game-winning save, but no, Dark Magic with some wizardry to bring them up by 2 goals.
Oh, man, and that was tough because that's as clutch as it gets inside the box. Unfortunately for them, the defense could not get it together, and you had very little time, very little space even. And now if you give up not only possession, but real estate in front of the opposition, that might be enough to get some insurance. No. You just have to be there, though. Parents' rule number 1, you just have to show up. You show up for the aerial, you scare out the defender, you fake up the touch. That's just enough to get past last man back. 4-3, 1:16 on the clock, though. I'm not too sure if it'll be enough time, though, because mistakes don't come by that easily this late, or maybe they do. Maybe you have to create the mistakes. A demo, though, is just as good as it gets on that last third. Del Norte, everywhere you don't want it to be, in the worst possible time. It's not like they've been this consistent. It's just that they drive you to OT because they're just that annoying.
Yeah, Oslo able to shrug off a bit of a bump there as well. And as you can see, that was how regulation time ended. It was 4-4 overtime on our first game of the entire day. It's great to see, and Del Norte will surely be so frustrated by this point because they have not just gone ahead once, twice, thrice, but they opened up a 2-goal lead as well. To see it drop to an overtime scenario and to even give Rialto a sniff of hope, it's so frustrating, and that's some great interference plays from Tectonic here, and a lovely clearance to boot as well.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing about the defensive play, getting rid of the attacker, making sure that your net is clear. Scooped here. It's a little annoyed by the pressure because it gets awkward with the rotations. Have to cut in front of your teammate is never a good look, but if you do so to save the net, might as well be your last effort. Great advance. Taking 2 defenders out, and that'll be key for Oslo to finish OT. Man, 9 goals in game number 1. What could be the rest of the series like?
I hope entertaining. Dark Magic will hope less focused on his own defensive frailties, because that's 2 goals now where he has misread the situation, and that has led directly to Rialto Knights picking up the opening win, 5-4, and you can see from the shot counter there, even Stevens across the board. A very competitive encounter. And in game number 2, Del Norte sure to be the more frustrated of the two, Mitch. I mean, realistically, a better defense, and they would have carried that home.
Yeah, if you see the triple at the end on the scoreboards, you know that the team is vibing. The Norte is not liking of that idea. They'll immediately strike first again, but this is what we saw last time, and it did not fare off quite well or enough for Norte. The Knights really are comfortable trailing early. They are strong finishers, not strong starters. Exhibit A, they tied up just like that again.
Oh, off the rip as well. Oh, complete capitulation on the kickoff. You have got to cover that central line. Rocket League 101. And speaking of 1-1, well, that's what the scoreline became. And we travel forward then to 3 minutes left on the clock, with Scoomt having a shot on target, another interference run, and Rialto Knights really starting to expose what is becoming a bit of a glass cannon. Del Norte, yes, they can score, Mitch, but goodness me, do they get scored against?
Yeah, it's, if we were to come to a shootout, I think Del Norte would have the upper hand, but when it comes to playing Rocket League, I think Knights is the more well-rounded team out of the two here. Not only are you able to make sure that the mistakes get punished, but the rotations are on point. Collins must be ecstatic. Del Norte is just lost at this point. It's not like they're playing bad Rocket League. It's just that the Knights are just that much better when playing average car soccer. It's not like they're peaking either. They're just doing what they do best. It's just staying with the rotation, sticking together as a unit, not double committing, and it leads to 4-1. Are you kidding me? After an OTW, a runaway W, to say the least, Del Norte is definitely struggling out here to find a rhythm.
Yeah, and that rhythm definitely tells in the highlights as well. Last game, consistent, and that's because there was a lot of stuff going on, but we see there, apart from the one look at net, which was converted by Del Norte, there's hardly been much to shout home about. In fact, look at this, all tripping over each other, and I know that we're into garbage time. Rialto Knights clearly have taken the victory here, their second game win in a row, but even at the end, you got to use that garbage time to try and figure out what are your issues. And can you find a way to get back into the game, if a little bit too late for this one, then to take forward into the next one? And it just seems like there's not just a capitulation on the kickoff, Mitch, on the kickoff situation, I should say, but look at the shot conversion rate from one team compared to the other. They had exactly the same amount of shots. Two players didn't even get a shot on target, one for both teams, and yet the result is so different. And straight from the off, Del Norte, we've got to talk about these kickoffs, guys.
Yeah, lots of fixing, especially in the first two touches of every single ball. And I completely agree 100%. This is where you try to experiment with your playstyle because you can tell it's not working. Oh, what a dribble, though, by Oscar to get it past the defense. It's not, again, like the Knights are taking it to you. They're not packing a punch. They're not doing anything flashy. They're not highly mechanical. They're just strolling by, and somehow, somewhere, they find the net consistently. It's the defense you need to fix, first of all. If you're Del Norte, the Cavs have to have uncomfortable conversations about their rotations, responsibilities, and roles because something is not clicking on their last third. And now this one just flew by. Game 3, 2-goal lead like it's nothing. Del Norte needs to pounce onto the net. One at least in the last couple of seconds. Double whiff to give us that treat. Postcarding out, but I mean, if your defense needs fixing, your offense needs accuracy, and that's probably priority numero uno if you're trying to not only hold on defensively, but trying to take it to the other team offensively.
Boy, oh boy. I don't use this word often at High School Esports League because I feel as if we give these teams a lot of leeway. I mean, part of high school and collegiate Rocket League is that you are learning on the fly, but I'm so disappointed in Del Norte because after such an encouraging first game where, yes, they collapsed a little bit and they ultimately gave up game 1, there has been nothing since then even slightly reminiscent of the game 1 display of Rialto Knights with another lead, and the lack of highlights for Del Norte is telling.
I I can definitely see what you're talking about only by the gameplay. The cards don't have faces, right? They don't have expressions. They don't showcase emotion like you do with traditional sports where they're shaking their heads or they're shrugging their shoulders. But you can tell from these 3 battle cards that they've given up, that something fell through and made the team fall apart throughout their series. And that's not only a little concerning because you still got
what
half
about-
of your season to be played, but it's really telling of what kind of chemistry there was in their last 2 victories. Maybe they're not treating either trailing or completely being obliterated by the opposition well, or they don't know how to handle losses, or there's something missing when you are down on the scoreboard but not down and out in the series. Something needs to be fixed by their next meeting, because not only do you need to play 4 games in 2 weeks' time, but then also you need to get a positive record if you're thinking about the playoffs.
And let's actually use those records as a really good indicator as to how seriously Rialto Knights took this. They knew this was a must-win series if they wanted any chance of qualifying for the playoffs. And look, 4 goals in 20 seconds off the back of the series that we've just seen, it's not going to happen, Mitch. It's a sweep for Rialto Knights, and quite frankly, going into that final series where they're trying to qualify for playoffs with a 5-3 win-loss ratio, what a statement. What a confidence booster. Excellent performance all round.
Yeah, the Cavs are sent back